The Gardener by Aeris, Sonder, Dacuri Blue, and LemonanaPink. You weren't allowed to go to his funeral. They said you were a bad influence. Doesn't matter that you made him laugh. Doesn't matter that he wrote you into his fucking suicide note. It wasn't a will. It doesn't count. All you've got is the vodka you were saving for when he finally moved out of his parents' house. The memory of his laughter and his gravestone. A dull, gray rock in front of you. Your thoughts swirl strangely in your head, stagnant and disconnected from yourself. Your body is somewhere beneath the water, floating like pond scum. Fuck. This vodka is cheap shit. Was this brand always this bad? You remember it tasting better when you drank it with him. At least it keeps you warm. How long have you been sitting here for? Long enough, if the pain in your legs is any indication. Your hands hurt too, from clenching something tightly enough to mold impressions on your palms. A pocket knife. He gave it to you years ago, when he was still passionate enough to be afraid of the world and the hurt it could do to the both of you. You've only ever used it to open up packages before, the blade dulled from tape and plastic and cardboard. Dull enough that you can run your finger over the blade and not get cut. A strange, soothing motion you make before pocketing it. You go to push off the ground, to at least roll to your knees, even if you can't leave yet, fingers combing the cold rush of grimy spring grass. When a sound stops you. Is that thunder? But it's not supposed to rain today. You hear the sound again. The rumble of thunder, the crack of two rocks against each other. Except, it's close. Too close. Fuck. You look up. There's something approaching. Growing? No. Writhing towards you. When you squint to try and make sense of what you are seeing, your vision goes static, as though you're just about to faint. After a blink, the static clears. The Gardener. But you can't say it. Can't hold him in your brain. He's the thing you do not talk about, the scream trapped in the back of your throat. The fear from his appearance fizzles away quickly, and the overwhelming numbness settles back in. You swallow as he reaches for your friend's grave, and your voice is husky when you manage to speak. You've got blood on your hands. It is the only part of the monster that you can see clearly, stark and sharp against the static of the rest of him. Except, the blood looks old. It flakes off his hand like ashes. The Gardener goes to touch the gravestone, and you lurch forward to push his hand away, throwing your whole weight against it. His skin is burning cold. Don't. Don't touch that. The gardener pulls his hand back, and his face creaks as he turns to you. He opens his mouth, and you realize the thunder. The avalanche of sound from before was his voice. This gravestone is hateful to you, is it not? Your throat is tight. Yeah. You want the gravestone gone. You want it torn asunder, ground to rubble. But you don't want him to touch it either. And you don't know why. He breathes hard, and you realize you're breathing harder. The gardener trails his gaze slowly from the gravestone to you. The scream in your throat loosens, and when you speak, it is loud and rough and wet. They buried him with the wrong clothes. And with the wrong name. They buried him a stranger. You remember the peek you caught at his funeral, through the fence from far away. Him in that horrible dress and ballet flats, lynching every time they said the wrong name. The wrong name that's etched forever onto his gravestone. You're crying. The gardener lets you. But only for a moment. He puts his hand on your shoulder, and you feel it. Tendrils that want to grow and grow out of you until you're nothing but plant food. His chest is strong and heaving. Blood flakes onto your clothes. There's work to be done. What was he like? Your friend was so kind. He was so kind. He took care of people, bought me my first chest binder, was always building people up. Didn't make it to every event, but was there when it mattered. For a single moment, you managed to get your head above the water and breathe. He was my friend. I loved him, and they buried him a stranger. The numbness slams over you again like a wave as you watch the monster consider this. You feel the gardener squeeze, thumbs digging into your skin as he pulls you to your feet. They burn from hours of sitting motionless, and the flaming prickle flashes through your whole body, a sudden flare of rage that threatens to consume you. The gardener breathes in, out, and on the exhale you can taste his breath. Rotten decay, an aftertaste of flowers and petrichor that coats the back of your throat. And where, little one, is the rage I smell on you now? Earlier was the rage when your friend's box hit the dirt, when they spoke loud, that loud. Where was it when they planted in this gloomy dirt the rock bears the evil of an old, dead name? You bristle. This fucking asshole. You clench your fists again, harder, hoping your fingernails will leave an imprint into your skin, white crescents that you can look on and remember all the emotions of this moment. The rage rolls through you, and you feel the gardener within you once more, the tendrils bloody and boiling under your skin. Well? Your head bows, submitting to the shame of his gaze. The blood on his hands looks so dark as the dirt beneath your feet. The rage smothers out as quickly as it came. There was no point, was there? You remember this rage that knifed through you before the numbness set in. Something primal and violent, an anger bigger than you. You'd wanted to bite and tear, to destroy, to take the dull knife and press it to a throat, and enact the same violence on his parents that they had enacted on him. But the great yawning void of helplessness had swallowed your rage, smothering you. It was the same as it always was. Logic, emotion, patience. Nothing ever changed the minds of those who hated. Your rage was an animal, and if it harnessed, you could have put it to great use. But what was the point in the face of the overwhelming apathy of the universe? In the sheer, uncaring, helpless void of humanity? Shall I help you, then? He releases you. The spot where his fingers pressed itches with cold. When you do not answer right away, the gardener makes that sound again. The rumble of stones from deep in his throat that sends you wincing. You drew him here, and he will not leave unless you bid him to. Your voice is scratchy and low. Please help me. The gardener nods, just once, and something inside of you thrums. He walks towards the grave. This time, you don't stop the gardener when he reaches red-caked hands to the gravestone. The flakes fall off, swirling like soot, as he brushes his fingers across the cursed rock, over the name etched there. He places a hand on its edge, looks at you, and smiles with too many teeth. It seems to happen all at once. The gravestone shattering to dust under the gardener's grip. The ground rolling, heaving beneath your feet. Clumps of dirt raining down on you as the earth itself bubbles up, and the groaning of wood filling the air. Then, all is still. You rub the dirt out of your eyes, blinking. When you look, the gardener is kneeling in front of you, reaching down to do the thing you should have done from the very beginning, saving your friend. The gravestone is obliterated, and all that remains of the grave itself is a yawning hole in the ground, surrounded by splinters of coffin wood. The guilt inside of you is quiet, a whisper, because at least now Something is being done. There is another guilt there, though, layered underneath, one beaten into the fabric of your morals from life in polite society. It is a sin to disturb the dead. It isn't actually grave robbing. You justify to yourself. After all, the grave would have to belong to your friend, for it was to be robbery, and the name there was not his own. Held in the arms of the gardener, your friend is tucked away, face concealed. You're grateful. Hidden. You can't see the condemnation that might be looking back. Somewhere on the surface of your mind, you know he would never hate you, no matter that you couldn't save him on your own. But underwater, drowning, you can only breathe in guilt and shame. Come. And then, without another word, he unfolds himself, taking to the forest nearby with long strides. You stumble when you try to follow. By the time you pick yourself up off the grass, the gardener is a dozen feet ahead of you, his broad back bent as he cradles your friend. All you can see from your friend is his legs, over two long arms of the monster, and the hem of that dress his parents stuffed him in, the ballet flats on his feet threatening to fall off. They're too small for him. Even they must have known he didn't want them. The trees of the forest look ready to swallow the two of them, and you nearly slide onto wet grass as you rush to catch up. You won't let your friend go down again. You won't let him be taken from your sight by someone else. The anger swells up in you again, blazing from a spark that you didn't realize was smoldering. When you try to call out to the gardener, your voice is low. Hey! The gardener doesn't acknowledge you, striding firm and purposeful through the trees. You try to think as you walk beside him. For the moment, the scream trapped in your throat is silent. Where did he come from? Why help you? How do you know him? The places where the gardener steps leave little graves, tiny ecosystem, dints of mud and sod that are yet warm when you step in them. Your footprints rot and bloom in rapid succession. When you step in one, following him exactly, they match yours. The gardener, so tall, with arms too long and hands covered in blood, bent over your friend, has the same boot size as you. Oh. For you are he, and he is you. This monster you have summoned with your rage and grief. But you don't have time for this realization, because you've arrived at the clearing between the forest and the sea. There's an old tree there, collapsed on its side, so wet with rot you can feel it in the air. You can almost pull the moss and mold deep into your lungs, allowing it to grow there. The gardener lays your friend down on the flattest section of the tree, a spot where soft green shoots are just beginning their life. The silence falls heavy again, like it did at the graveyard. The overwhelming helplessness that threatens to creep back in and smother the soft flame of your rage. A sudden push against your back by the gardener, like a draft of cold air, stumbles you forward, and it's all the fire inside of you needs. It will burn away the damnable trust. You'll erase all traces of the pain your friend's family inflicted on him, even in death. You can't bury him like this. The gardener chuckles. In what way would you bury him then? You would bury him in his suit and tie. He had his plain black suit he was crazy about. Saved up for it for ages. One of those expensive graduation ones. Even if he'd never get to actually wear it to anything like that. You don't think you ever saw him smile the way that suit made him smile? Your face is wet, and you don't remember when you started crying. Can you see it? You can. You imagine burning the dress. Imagine tearing it to shreds with your own two hands, drinking the vodka with him and laughing. It chokes your throat, makes your eyes flood with tears. And in a blink, the gardener grants you the gift of that vision. The dress burns up, leaving your friend clothed in his attire of choice, and you watch the ashes rise away. You know what to do next without any prompting. How do you mourn him? Speak quietly. You speak quietly, sobbing into your hands. The gardener hums, his voice soft thunder, a gentle company to your whispered grief. When it is finished, when your sniffling stops and your hands are shaking with all your grief, the gardener pulls you back to reality. He stands before you again, body lean with violence, the old blood on his hands bright, fresh and new, as red as the sunrise. With a heavy thump, a pain echoes through your whole body, and he thrusts a shovel into your hands. With a monstrous gruffness, he demands, "Dig." This is your punishment, your penance. The ground underneath you is hard and only lightly damped, not the soft spring wet of the graveyard. Dig. The first stroke of the shovel into the ground is awful. Point clanging against the packed dirt, a painful ripple rolling in your arms and back. You press the shovel in again, using all your weight and slowly, inch by painful inch, cut through the ground. The sliver of dirt you pull up hardly matches the amount of effort you put in. You look up, the gardener glares back, and you know, with gut deep certainty, you cannot leave until you are done. You chose this. You must dig. You cut into the ground again, and again, and again, until your back is soaked with sweat and your arms are practically numb. They feel longer. Too long. Your friend waits on the tree and you dig for him. When you try to stop, to take a moment's break, the world rolls and you grow dizzy until you press the shovel into the dirt again. The wind roars, the gardener howls. Dig. Dig. You dig until your back burns, until your hands are blistering, and have blood on your hands just as the monster did. Every time you try to stop, the dizziness comes back, worse and worse each time, until your shovel is back in the ground. The rage is back in your gut, resounding through your limbs with every backswing of your shovel. You swear you hear your friend laughing madly at you, gleeful at your punishment. When you look up, back bent over your shovel, the hole down to your thighs, you catch the gaze of the gardener, watchful and present. The gardener growls, roaring like thunder, jolting you back into digging. Dig! You dig 6 feet deep until time has lost any meaning, until blood is pounding in your ears and salty sweat stings your eyes and bloody hands. And yet, you still dig. Your skin feels too tight. There is static in your mind, coursing into your body. You feel your edges become static. You dig and dig and dig. The gardener is screaming, and the scream in your own throat finally escapes, and your shovel pierces the dirt over and over and over. Dig, dig, dig. The sound like a song, a rhythm, a dirge to your rage, your dead friend, and all the hopelessness and injustice in the world. Dig, dig, dig. The gardener screams, and you scream, until the world goes dark. When you wake again, you're on your back, staring up at the sky. And when you sit up, your friend is buried again, the soil fresh in their new grave, in this clearing near the forest, a tree just beginning to sprout there. Something in the world writes, "Oh, I understand now." And it's like you can breathe again for the first time in days. Like you've come up from under the water, and your thoughts are your own. The scream in your throat is gone, resting with your friend. I hope you're at peace now. Properly. Please rest, my dear friend. You look around for the monster of your nightmares. There are footprints leading away from you. Little tints in the grass, newly dead, and yet newly blooming, leading towards the forest's edge, where trees drop away to sea. You look below, to the rocky shore. All that's left of the gardener is the sight of his back, retreating into the wine-dark sea. Credits: Programmer, Micro Aeris. Artist, Dacuri Blue and LemonanaPink. Writer, Sonder. Musician, Magro. The Gardener. Hello friends, thanks for watching that video, and if you like my voice acting, you can support me by subscribing. Alright, that's it. Bye senpai.